Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel, and welcome to the start, almost the start, of another football season, the 25-26 season. And this is a clip just to have a fairly brief look, I think. Don't want to get too involved at the start of the season, but just a brief look at my thoughts on the upcoming championship season for 25-26, and who might be shuffling away near the top and who might be struggling at the bottom. But it is always a very tight league. I think last year was a little bit of an exception where we had four teams completely away from the rest, really, including Sunderland, who ultimately went up through the playoffs. So it's always a traffic jam to get in the top six, almost from Christmas, really. And I don't see it any different. I've scribbled God knows how many notes down here trying to work it out. Not trying to work it out, but thinking, they should be in the top six, and they should be in the top six, and I want everybody in the top six, near enough. But it can't be done, so I will give you my thoughts. I'm not always going to go with the flow, as in with the bookies. I'm going to try and put one or two surprises in there. I tried to do that last year with Queen's Park Rangers and on the top six. That didn't really work, but I did get leads, but that wasn't a big call, was it, as such? So what have we got then? We've had during the summer, or since the closed season, a number of managerial changes, and my team, Bristol City, are one of those. Who Liam Manning tendered his resignation and was, I say headhunted, I presume he was, by Norwich City. So he's swapped clubs there, like for like, in my opinion, as of current. Same style as football, same sort of size club. Norwich have got a stronger background, of course, stronger history, but it's about the here and now, and he's jumped ship. I think jump ship's a bit harsh, maybe. He's gone to Norwich, which is his hometown, home city, and he is, I'm sure, looking forward to working in that environment. So he left a hole at Bristol City, which was filled by Johan Straber. I'm not going to get that right many times this season. Gerhard Struber, and he has only limited experience of English football, I think, at Barnsley, where he did okay, I think, initially. He went there, of course, as usual, firefighting, team in trouble, got them out of relegation, and then jumped ship from there. I haven't looked at the potted history, but I know that, again, I'm more about the here and now, and I know that he comes with not a lot of experience of English football, but I'm sure he's got a great knowledge of it. And I think he's going to change the style a little bit. I've seen some of the pre-season training clips down at Ashton Gate, or in their training environment, and he's certainly got a different approach to Liam Manning, a much more hands-on and gregarious approach, if you like. So we shall see what they play like and start like. So there's two teams with managerial changes. Then we've got Leicester City. One of the three teams came down from the Premier League, cut adrift, weren't they, the three Premier League sides. So, they've got a lot to revive, as did the two teams last year, and some of them did it pretty well. So we shall see, but yes, so Ruud van Nistelrooy even has left, as we know, was sacked at Leicester, and they headhunted Marti Cifuentes. Now, if you remember, I rated him last year, and I thought he was going to do a better job, or I thought QPR was going to be a better fit for Marti Cifuentes, but it didn't turn out as both sides would have hoped, I guess. So he has been headhunted for Leicester, so they must think highly of him as well. So he's gone there, and he has been replaced by a Frenchman, an unknown Frenchman to me anyway, Julian Stephan, and he's stepped into the breach at Queen's Park Rangers. And I had a quick look at his history, and he's only ever managed in France. So that's going to be, I'm sure, a little bit of a culture change for him. Just the nature of 46 high-pressured games in the Championship, and some of these 3-game weeks that come along, it's a big difference from, I'm sure, from some of the more calm European leagues, and the French may be one of those. So that's him. Then, of course, we had a little bit of a surprise, didn't we, with Sheffield United parting company with Chris Wilder. Not immediately after the playoffs, but quite soon after they lost to Sunderland, in dramatic style, wasn't it, for those of us who kept up with that. And they headhunted Ruben Selles to go to Sheffield United, and he's had experience of English football, so that may be a good fit for them. I'm not sure why. I think just Chris Wilder perhaps has done it a couple of times, hasn't he, at Sheffield? And when you fail in something so huge as that, and it was it was almost in their grasp until they had that dreadful week when they lost 3 games, I think, in a week. Just like they shouldn't be really have been becoming second to. Anyway, they did, and that was that. So Chris Waller's out of work, as I understand. And that takes us on to Southampton, who've also changed their manager since coming down. And they've got Will Still. He's an interesting character. Has never really played football to any degree. Excuse me. And he has managed, again, he's got this reputation for being a good coach, but it's not, for me, any real top club. Again, a couple in France, I think Rennes. But, again, the here and now. He's been given his chance to shine in the Championship. So we shall see. Couple more managerial flags, just to mention. Rob Edwards obviously left Luton. He's taken up Middlesbrough. I think that's a good appointment for them. And I think that they may well feature, as you'll see, in the top brackets and it'll be a real challenge this year. They've tiptoed at it, haven't they? Scratched at the surface. I think they will be up there this year with Rob Edwards' experience of what he did with Luton. I'm sure he'll reflect on what he did wrong at Luton, and because he is a good manager, good coach. He took Luton all the way through the leagues, did he not? So he's there, and finally we have Alan Sheehan at Swansea. I don't know much about Alan Sheehan, but he has taken up the Swansea reins. So I may have missed one or two, there were so many, but that was the key ones that I picked out. Managerial changes since we last spoke, really, at the end of last season. A couple of other points. What have we got? We've got some interesting teams, haven't we, coming in from League One this year. Last year we had Derby, Portsmouth, and the other team. Who was the Oxford? Sorry, Oxford. Yes, Derby, Portsmouth, Oxford, and all had ups and downs, didn't they, all through the season? But all stayed up. And in the end, I think all stayed up with something to spare. So, or maybe Derby pushed it to the last season, the last match of the season. But and they're replaced by Birmingham and Wrexham now. For me, talking about managers, they are two clubs whose managers are under pressure from the first whistle on the August the 9th. I think that their owners, and we know Ryan Reynolds is Wrexham's owner, and all of the shenanigans that goes with that. Birmingham City have American owners who are piling money in, and they will want to be in the limelight. They will want to be chugging along in mid-table. And I think Wrexham and Birmingham, for the sake of their managers, current managers, have got to hit the ground running. I don't know whether they will or not. You'll see whether I've got either of them in the top 6 later on, or should they shortly, because I'm not going to rattle on too much longer. And Charlton also joined them, so they're the one that may find the going a bit tougher. Perhaps they certainly haven't got the spending power of their Wrexham are spending millions on players. Every time they have a signing, it's 1.2 million, 2.2 million. So Wrexham will expect a return, or the ownership. And I just think they've come, haven't they? 3 promotions on the trot. And I just think, where's the team spirit in all of that? Because players fall by the wayside. They're perhaps not up to the standard of the next level, and they're buying all these new players again. You've got to re-garnish, and somehow it will plateau out. Perhaps I've got all that wrong. We shall see. Wrexham probably 10 points clear by Christmas, and they'll all be throwing eggs at me. But there we go. So those are the key ones. Oh, we've got living in Portsmouth. We've got the South Coast Derby reignited this season. So Southampton against Portsmouth. Time to batten down the hatches and renew house insurance and all of that. I jest. But there is always a great atmosphere and a great feeling in the week building up to the match in the area. So we've got that reignited, and that will be very interesting. I think the first one, I can't remember when it is. I think it may even be in September, quite early, and it is on Sky. I think it's the half midday kickoff, one of those ones. So we shall see. So there are some key points. What have I done about team? I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the bottom 3 and the top 7 or 8, or give a bit of a flavour on who might be in the top 6. Because as I say, it's just such a logjam. It is a lottery, and when you could buy a lottery ticket on a Saturday, you don't go thinking too much about it. And it's a bit the same with this championship, really. So I have got at the very bottom this year, I think it'll be a bit too much for Oxford United. They haven't got the spending power some of these other clubs have. Not that you needed it necessarily, that's all been proven in the past, but I just think Oxford will struggle this season. I forget their manager's name. Of course, Gary Rowett. So Gary Rowett, excellent manager, did well to recover Oxford last year because they were sliding really fast down the table. So he did a good job in saving them, keeping them afloat. I think it's a real tough job for him this year. So I have them at 24th. Then I've gone a bit cheesy, really, I think. I've gone with the two clubs that have got transfer embargoes. And in the Championship, if you've got a restriction on what you can do and what you can buy, it may work out. Sometimes it may force your hand to use your youth players, academy players, and they may well be some gems in there. Who knows? That can come in and deal with the cauldron that is this league. But I've gone 23rd, and in no real order really, 23rd Sheffield Wednesday and 22nd Hull City, purely based on their off-the-field issues, which will no doubt have a bit of a drag on both clubs as we go through the season. But as I say, this is all not a bit of fun, is it, when you're picking sides to get relegated, but it is just very subjective. So I'm saying the bottom three will be Oxford, Sheffield Wednesday and Hull, with Charlton just about surviving. Nathan Jones will be throwing all his passion into it, as we know. He gets players wanting to run through brick walls for him when he gets it right. And they will have a tough job as well, coming up through the playoffs. So Charlton, we shall see how they go. But I think they might just, with the enthusiasm of coming into the Championship and the momentum that you get from a successful previous season, may just keep them in the top, in the division. Then we go up to where I've got lots of scribbles for the top six. And I've changed my mind a million times, really, as I say, and it's just lottery, isn't it, at this stage? It's a little bit of fun. Everyone who watches this will have a set of teams in the different positions, I'm sure. So starting in 7th place, I've got Coventry City. I've got 7th because 7th, 6th, they'll be knocking on the door. I know that's not a playoff position, but I think in the top 7, I'm going to put Coventry. Under Frank Lampard, they'll be competitive again, of course. They lost very unluckily to Sunderland in the playoff semi-finals, as we all know. That's all history. You've got to put that aside. As Leeds proved last year, it can be done. And yes, so I'm putting Coventry just to be there or thereabouts again. They may well be in the top 6, but I've just got others in there that I've chosen. Then my surprise, I've been watching some of the transfer activity, and Preston North End have been going very quietly about their business. 6 or 7 good signings have been picked up by Paul Heckingbottom, who struggled a bit last year Preston struggled generally last year, and it was a difficult season for him. But we know he's got good pedigree in this league, and I think they are, as I say, putting together a decent side, and I think they'll be my QPR of last season, which is probably a death knell for them. Preston are my surprise. It's a surprise. I think it's a surprise into the top 6 for them. Then I've got Sheffield United back up in the playoffs. I can't see them not being. They were. It was rough on them last year. They were trying so hard to stay on the heels of Leeds and Burnley, and it just fell away at the end. And then, of course, the catastrophe of losing the playoffs. A football catastrophe. There are many more catastrophes than that in the world. But in football terms, it was a really disappointing one for them. And as I say, it ultimately cost Chris Wilder his job. So I've got them at 5th place. Then in 4th place, I've put Ipswich. I haven't really mentioned Ipswich. They haven't seen much transfer activity there, but I've just been ignorant to that. Excuse me again. Kieran McKenna will have them playing their usual style, I'm sure. He'll get them revved up. He's a good coach, we all know that. He stuck by them when perhaps other clubs were sort of tapping the door last year, stuck with Ipswich. And I think that will get rewarded, I think, at least a playoff place. They could well be in the top 2. They could well win it, we know that. But I'm putting them just in 4th. The time to readjust, isn't it, for some of these clubs that come down and have to get their mindset around not the glamour of the Premier League. It's still a very high-profile division as the Championship, as we know. So, 4th place then Ipswich Town. Then I've got one of the other relegated sides, Southampton. Sorry, Southampton. I've got to putting them in the top 3 is living in Portsmouth. It's got to be said very quietly, but there we go. I think they will still, though. I've still got a question mark about him in my head, but he's got a good squad to work with at this level. We know how good they were the previous season. I know they went up through the playoffs, but they were very entertaining, weren't they? And under Russell Martin. So let's see if Southampton can prove me right. And I've put them 3rd. Now, the 2 automatic places, for those of you who are sort of thinking about who I haven't said yet, I've gone for the surprise, another surprise maybe, but I do like Rob Edwards. I know he fell away at Luton in the end, it all got a little bit sour for him. But I think he'll come back rejuvenated. He knows exactly how to get teams out of this division. And I think Middlesbrough is already made. It's almost there. He's just got to tinker a little bit, surely, with what was there last year. I know some of the fans were a bit disgruntled at times, but they were scoring plenty of goals. Got beat quite heavily at times, so perhaps that's the sort of area he's got to sort of shore up a little bit. But I think Middlesbrough will be in 2nd place. And whilst I said at the start, I haven't really gone too much with the bookies. I have gone with a bookie's favourite here to win the league. I personally, I can see past the team I've chosen. I could pick any one of 3 or 4 others, I guess. But I'm going with Leicester City to recover themselves under their new coach, Marty Cifuentes. As I say, I like him. I think he's got a lot to offer. Just by the way he comes across, if he can motivate the players like he seems to be able to, then I think they have a great chance. So that is my Championship winning team this year, Leicester City, and to follow them in the Premier League, automatically Middlesbrough. Who knows? All of that will be probably dismissed very early on in the season, but it's going to be a fascinating 8-9 months, as it always is. It'll be really interesting to see how Birmingham and Wrexham get on and how they manage their expectations in the boardroom. That is the fascinating bit for me, because they will want the limelight. One step away from the Premier League, they won't want to be floating around carrying the drinks in mid-table, as it were, just to quote a cricket term. So there we are. That's me for the preview for 25-26 in the Championship. I hope I have your company throughout the season. I will be back to preview the first set of fixtures, which start on, I think, maybe the Friday night, but certainly the weekend of the 8th, 9th, 10th of August. So I'll be back in the build-up to all of that. Please keep with the channel. Keep use it. There's plenty of content throughout the summer. Like and subscribe. Please engage your friends. We just need to get to the 4-figure subscribers mark. We're not that far away, but I'd say the people behind me in the channel do such a lot of hard work, and they try desperately hard to get the best quality content they can with what they've got available. So please tune in to all of the stuff that you've been tuning into before and more. So there we go. Please enjoy the rest of the summer, or enjoy the next 2 weeks before I see you again, and I will see you very soon. Stay healthy and take great care. Thank you for watching this one. Bye for now.